Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and it's This Week in Hearthstone, week number 6, our weekly recap series at all the worlds and news and events in the Hearthstone world in the past week. And this week's top story, people were really pissed off about Scholar Jaina. The Scholar Jaina bundle in particular, put out into the shop by Blizzard. It coincided with the new adventure mode that we'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, went out with that. You got 5 mage packs, and you got the new Scholar Jaina portrait, and the portrait was lackluster to say the least. Offered 0 new voice lines, no new animations, no new hero power, nothing. You literally just got a picture of Scholar Jaina, and yeah, people took to Twitter, to Reddit, very upset about it, highlighting a couple of posts here, kind of memeing on it, or talking about what they would have liked to have seen, you know, actual animations using the voice line, things like that, but it just didn't happen. And yeah, the devs were pretty silent about it, except for on Twitter. Ben Hearthstone put out a tweet saying, you know, it would have been nice to have seen something added. It feels kind of bad that there's no new voice work, considering there's voice work in the adventure itself. And Celestalon responded with, yeah, we hear you. We could push along this feedback. If we feel it's something you guys want, maybe we can add it. But we haven't heard anything since. And since then, Ben even posted the results of his poll asking the community, do they want, you know, voice lines and extra stuff? And it's a resounding yes, of course, you know. We spent money on it and all that. But yeah, no response yet. And it was even picked up by somewhat mainstream media, highlighting a couple articles here, one notably by a PC Gamer, talking about, are people like rightfully mad? Should they be mad about this Scholar Jaina bundle? So it's literally, people are so upset, so unhappy with this bundle, it actually got some news, mainstream attention. And yeah, my opinion on it, I think the bundle's a ripoff. I think the portrait's a ripoff. Like, you get 5 packs for like, what, $10 American? Which is below value on your regular packs. Mage packs are not really better than regular, in my opinion, unless you really want mage cards, which, I mean, who really is doing that? Portrait itself is just, as we mentioned, lackluster, not great, super low effort, and they've literally never released a paid portrait before that was this poor. Every other portrait they've released has an animation, voice line, something. Usually a card back too to go with it. That's none of this for that. And I just think it was really just kind of crappy. And if we're getting 10 individual chapters with all heroes getting their own unique portrait like this, if they're all like this, I don't think anybody should be paying for this unless they absolutely really love to have just an animated GIF of their favorite hero and nothing more. Our next story is Battlegrounds issues continue to be a problem. I talked about it last week, but there was the update, the one that got Cora threatened with the cat. But yeah, Micro Mummy has still not been added back to the mode. I guess they haven't figured out how to not crash the game. They did temporarily add it back in, and then they took it back out because it was still crashing mobile. And they did say that they are planning on releasing it on the next major update, but we don't know when that'll be. The game itself runs really poorly. Like, if you're playing Battlegrounds and you're playing, like, a bunch of games, like just a couple, you'll note your game gets really laggy and can screw you up badly, especially in the late game. I've had games where I've totally missed, like, 2 minions that I wanted to play because the game got so incredibly laggy. So if you're running across that issue, which I know a lot of people have, the best bet you can do is just restart your game after every single Battlegrounds game. It seems to help with the client if you restart your game. So I don't know, there must be something like in the background that's like just piling up and like overloading the system or something. But yeah, it's been really poorly performing. And the quad queuing MMR situation where people can work together to queue up and gain ranks and try and qualify for that tournament we mentioned last week in particular has not been addressed, not been issued by Team 5 outside of that one post where they said, oh, the numbers aren't that bad. You only get a few percent extra, but again, a few percent extra at that high rank is like huge difference, and it's kind of sucks to see that Battleground seems to be slipping a little bit. And also, the meta has been kind of completely broken by the introduction of Jandice, the new hero. She swaps a non-golden token on the board with another token for 0 mana, and basically the deal with her is if mechs are in the pool, you just swap with pogos and you win the game because they scale so ridiculously high. every time I've taken Jandis and hit a pogo on turn 3 after you level up into 2, I've either won or got second. Her win rate, if you look on HS Replay, is the highest win rate I have ever seen for any hero, period. She's like averages almost like top 3 if there's a mech, like, and that's that's factoring in games where you can get mechs. So there seems to be a pattern with the Battlegrounds heroes. Every time they introduce a few, one is just over the top broken, and it's obviously broken for the most part. Especially like Jandis, like if you tested her at all, you just played a pogo with it, you'd see it's broken. And yeah, Eudora was broken, Hooktusk, Tyrion, all these new heroes are broken, and they're kind of hidden behind that Tavern Pass paywall, because you can't really access new heroes without that. So I'm starting to wonder if there's a certain undermined strategy going on here by introducing intentionally overpowered broken heroes to kind of make you want to buy the Battle Pass. Maybe I'm a little bit on a conspiracy here, but I don't know why they're so unbalanced every time they release a new batch of heroes. Next, we have our weekly meta update. We'll start with Standard. High Legend, things are pretty stabilized these days. If you look at HS Replay and the top popularity decks, you're seeing a lot of Mage, Druid, and now Demon Hunter is really popping up as a very popular deck. We've talked a lot about Soul Fragment DH on this channel, how I like the deck. I did like a deck guide, and yeah, other people are catching on to how good this deck is. It just does extremely well across the field, and particularly really good against a Mage, which is the most popular archetype, at least on High Legend ladder. And it just, yeah, it can clear this stuff, it can heal, and more importantly, just hit them in the face and kill them before they do all the random crap. It just kind of struggles a bit against, like, Pure Paladin, Druid, which is popular, and it can have a bit of a problem with Warrior, but Warrior is getting so greedy that they don't have the armor gain to outreach you a lot of the time. But yeah, Soul Fragment Demon Hunter is doing particularly well, so I'm highlighting that as, like, the deck to play this week. And in Wild, things are really not changing up much. You have the same top 3, you have Reno Priest, you have Kingsbane Rogue, you have Quest Mage, all dominating the meta, but, you know, you have Discard Warlock, whether it have Dark Glare or Dark Glare in the deck, it doesn't particularly seem to matter. That deck is creeping up to basically back to Tier 1 status that it was before the expansion came out. It's an insane deck that never runs out of steam, always has cards and overstated stuff. But one archetype that keeps popping up, keeps getting better and better in Wild, is Turtle Mage. We keep talking about it, and yeah, it's doing fine in Standard. Not that great. The meta's pretty hostile towards it, but in Wild, where you have infinite ice blocks, the deck just keeps getting better and better. And I'm highlighting a list here by Corbett, who built a more tempo version and is like top 10 legend with it. So yeah, don't sleep on the turtles. They seem to be getting better and better in Wild, and as it gets more refined and refined, I think it will become more and more prominent because it's really hard to counter outside of just going face. So that's our take at the weekly meta update. And lastly, we'll take a look at the GM results for the week. The continued round robin play this week. And as we'll highlight here, the standings are as so. So each region has a Division A, Division B, and each division will keep going until they have played each other. So right now, currently, No Hands Gamer is #1 in Division A, killing it. As always, the guy is unreal. If you haven't checked out his stream, you should. He's got a YouTube too. You should check that out. #1 in Division B is a friend of mine, ETC, former member of F2K. Amazing player, good guy, and this is his swan song. It's good to see him doing pretty well, but he said he's going to be moving on to other stuff, regardless of how he places this season. On EU, we see RDU crushing it at #1 in Division A. He keeps saying he's struggling in BGs, but whenever he struggles in BGs, he does really good in the GM system, so that's great to see. Felkane is #1 in Division B as well. Recently promoted GM, I think, a season or two ago. He's doing pretty well there. And then we have the Asia-Pacific region with Surrender at #1 in Division A, and Tiz #1 in Division B. So some good, prominent names doing very well across the board. And yeah, not really too much to highlight from the Grandmasters, just a lot of games going on. A lot of RNG going on as well. There's still, keep reading about Grandmasters complaining about the outcome of their games being kind of out of their hands, but seeing names do well, what can you do? It is what it is. And that is This Week in Hearthstone. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.